You know what makes a woman absolutely unforgettable? Detachment. Not detachment in a cold, bitter, I don't need anyone way. I'm talking about a woman who is rooted so deeply in herself, worth that she doesn't need to chase, explain, or beg. She knows what she brings to the table. And if someone can't see it, she's already walking away with her dignity intact. Let's get one thing straight. Detachment is not weakness. It's strength disguised as calm. It's power disguised as peace. It's you showing up for yourself first. Because when you stop obsessing over someone else's attention, you start attracting the exact energy you deserve. Men don't fall in love with desperation. They fall in love with depth, with confidence, with a woman who doesn't flinch when someone pulls away, because she's not clinging to them for validation. She is the validation. Think about it. When you stop checking your phone every 2 minutes, when you stop texting first just to keep the connection alive, when you stop rearranging your life to fit into his, you stop chasing and start attracting. And that's when the dynamic shifts. Suddenly, he's wondering where your energy went, why you're not as available, why you're not fighting to stay. That curiosity, that's power. And it only comes when you detach from outcome and reconnect with yourself. Let me tell you something bold. The most irresistible energy in the world is a woman who is at peace with letting go. Not because she doesn't care, but because she cares about herself more. She doesn't get stuck in loops of overthinking, overgiving, or overexplaining. She says what she needs. And if she doesn't get it, she exits. You want to know the secret sauce? Silence. Yes, silence. The kind of silence that says, I see what you're doing. I know what I need. And if you're not giving it, I'm not here. That silence echoes louder than any argument. It makes space for them to reflect. And if they don't, then they were never capable of giving you what you deserve anyway. It's not your job to fix, prove, or convince someone of your worth. Your job is to live it, speak it, own it, and walk away when it's not being respected. So here's the truth. When you detach, you glow different. You act different. You make decisions from self-respect, not fear of loss. And that energy, that's what draws the right kind of person in and scares off anyone not meant for you. Stop chasing love. Start choosing yourself. That's when everything changes. When a woman detaches, everything changes, not just for her, but for everyone around her. Because detachment isn't about giving up, it's about leveling up. It's the quiet decision to no longer beg for breadcrumbs when you know you're the whole damn loaf. And here's the truth. When you stop tying your worth to how someone else feels about you, you take your power back. You stop performing for approval. You stop shrinking to be more likable. You stop waiting by the phone, analyzing texts, decoding mixed signals like your life depends on it. Because it doesn't. The moment you detach, you send a clear message. I am no longer available for confusion. That energy is magnetic. It shifts the dynamic entirely. Suddenly, you're not chasing. You're observing. You're not fixing. You're deciding. And the irony, that's exactly when people start chasing you. Because confidence without attachment, that's rare. That's potent. That's what people feel but can't quite name. You become the one who sets the tone, not the one who waits for permission. You choose you, and that makes you unforgettable. When you stop overgiving, you stop draining yourself to fill someone else's empty cup. And let's be honest, how many times have you pushed your own needs aside just to make someone else feel secure? You bend, you accommodate, you explain yourself over and over, hoping that if you just do more, they'll finally choose you. But that's the trap. That's the cycle that keeps you stuck in low self-worth relationships, constantly proving yourself to someone who isn't even ready to receive what you offer. When you step back, when you stop overgiving, you disrupt that pattern. You tell the universe, I'm not available for one-sided love stories. That's when you start recognizing who's actually showing up, not just talking a good game. And more importantly, you start showing up for yourself. You protect your peace, your energy, your standards. And guess what happens? The people who only loved what you gave them will fall away. But the ones who value you, the real you, will lean in. Because you're no longer exhausting yourself trying to be enough. You already are. Detachment isn't about not caring. It's about caring about yourself enough to stop chasing validation. When you detach, you take your power back. You stop trying to decode every text message, every mood swing, every mixed signal. You stop making their inconsistency mean something about your worth. Detachment is the moment you realize, I'm no longer available for emotional confusion. Because here's the truth. When you're constantly reacting to someone else's energy, you're not living from your center. You're living on edge, waiting, hoping, negotiating. And that's exhausting. But when you detach, you ground yourself. You stop tying your value to how someone treats you. You start showing up as the version of you that's calm, confident, and whole, whether they text back or not. And ironically, that's the energy people can't resist because it's rare, it's magnetic, and it says, I want you, but I don't need you. When you detach from needing someone to choose you, you finally choose yourself. And that shift is massive. It changes how you speak, how you walk, how you show up in the room. You stop trying to impress. You stop performing. You start aligning. Because you're not chasing someone else's attention anymore. You're standing in your own presence. And that presence, it's powerful. When someone no longer senses that desperate pull, that fear of losing them, they see you differently. Not as someone they can push and pull at will, but as someone grounded in their own sense of self-worth. Detachment teaches you to be okay with any outcome. It makes you emotionally self-sufficient. And when you reach that level, people feel it. They lean in. Because confidence built on internal validation is irresistible. Emotional detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop overgiving to people who haven't earned that kind of access to your heart. There's a difference. You're still open, still kind, still loving. But now you're discerning. You're no longer giving away your energy like it's free candy on Halloween. You're not trying to prove your worth through what you sacrifice or how much you tolerate. You start asking yourself, does this connection add peace to my life or chaos? You stop romanticizing potential and start measuring consistency. And when someone can't show up the way you need, you don't argue, you don't beg, you exit. Gracefully, powerfully. Because you've realized your emotions are sacred, and the people who get close to them should treat them that way. That's the quiet strength of a woman who's learned to detach with dignity. When you stop chasing, you shift the entire dynamic. Chasing energy comes from a place of lack. It screams, I need you to choose me so I can feel worthy. But the moment you stop, something powerful happens. You remember who you are. You remember that you don't have to beg for someone's attention, time, or respect. You never did. You start walking differently, talking differently, thinking differently. Your energy changes. You go from trying to win someone over to letting them earn their place in your life. You begin to realize that real love doesn't require you to lose yourself. Real connection doesn't drain you. It elevates you. And if someone pulls away when you stop chasing, that's your answer. Let them go. Because when you stand still in your power, the right one doesn't run. They step up. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care about yourself enough not to settle. It's not cold or distant. It's clarity. It's the decision to stop tying your value to someone else's behavior. It's the strength to say, I choose peace over chaos. Because when you're emotionally entangled with someone who gives you crumbs, you start starving for their validation. You shrink. You obsess. You question your worth. But the moment you detach, emotionally, mentally, even physically, you reclaim your power. You stop overanalyzing their every word and start listening to your own. You stop checking your phone for their texts and start checking in with yourself. Detachment doesn't push people away. It filters out those who never really showed up for you in the first place. And the ones who belong, they feel that shift. They either meet you in your strength or they get left behind. Either way, you win. When you stop over-giving, something powerful happens. You break the cycle of proving your worth. Think about how many times you've poured yourself into someone else, thinking that if you just loved harder, tried more, gave endlessly, they'd finally see your value. But all that over-giving, it doesn't earn love. It empties you. It teaches people that your boundaries are optional, that your needs can wait, that your love is on tap, no matter how little they show up for you. Pulling back isn't selfish. It's self-preservation. It's choosing to love yourself enough to stop bleeding for people who wouldn't offer you a bandage. When you give from a place of overflow, from strength, from balance, that's love. But when you give to be chosen, to be seen to feel enough, that's fear wearing a mask. The shift starts the moment you stop begging to be enough for someone and start believing you already are. And from that place, you don't chase, you attract. The truth is, when you detach, you become unpredictable, and that's magnetic. People, especially men, are wired to notice what they can't control or predict. When you're always available, always chasing, always responding instantly, you become expected, routine, almost invisible. But when you start creating space, when you pull back emotionally and physically, suddenly you're no longer just an option on their radar. You become a mystery they want to solve. Detachment isn't about being cold or uncaring. It's about holding your own energy and refusing to bend it just to fit someone else's script. It's showing up fully for yourself and inviting others to meet you there, rather than chasing after their approval or affection. This shift changes the dynamic entirely. Instead of being the pursuer, you become the prize. Instead of reacting to their mood, you set your own. And that power, that confidence, men find that irresistible because it signals strength, independence, and self-respect, qualities that ignite attraction far deeper than any neediness ever could. When you detach, you're not just stepping back from the relationship, you're stepping into your own power. It's about knowing your worth so clearly that you refuse to settle for less than you deserve. This isn't about playing games or manipulation. It's about reclaiming your energy and deciding where you want to invest it. When you detach, you create boundaries that protect your emotional well-being. You stop giving away your attention and love to someone who doesn't fully appreciate it. This shift forces the other person to notice what they're missing, because you're no longer there to fill every space or answer every call. It gives them room to reflect, to realize that your presence isn't a guarantee. And that realization, it's powerful. It makes them question what they lost and often sparks a desire to reconnect. But this time, on your terms. Detachment also shows that you value yourself enough to walk away if you're not being treated with respect and care. That kind of self-respect is magnetic and commands attention. It invites healthier dynamics and encourages both people to step up and meet each other as equals. Ultimately, detaching is about choosing yourself first, and when you do that, everything changes.